Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. So please, if you have questions, please put them through the chat, and then that'll help keep us on track. Again, we want this to be something that you guys learn quite a bit through. So we want it to almost be just like a workshop, right, that you guys are getting it. So just a few points. So we get done with this class. This is only an hour-long class. Victoria and I both are current practitioners of jiu-jitsu, and we both attend probably like 4 to 5 hours a week in classes. So as you can imagine, at the end of just 1 hour, you're not going to be a black belt. This is not going to transform you. We're not going to teach you any super move that will make anybody just, completely fall out, right? We're giving you tips and tricks to try to help you get out of bad situations. Anything that you're going to be doing does need some additional training and stuff to follow up with, right? Get somebody that either like a spouse or a close friend, or maybe somebody that is taking this with you, and kind of go through them and practice some of this stuff. See what works for you, see what maybe doesn't work as much, things that you have to kind of tweak a little bit, maybe to your height or your hand size or your weight or anything like that, things that will work out for you a little bit more. So make sure you take the time to follow up with it. Also, remember that any skill, like these are just all hands-on skills, any of these skills are going to constantly diminish over time, right? If you don't continually train and practice and go through it, what's going to happen is you're going to say, oh, well, did we grab this way or did we grab this way? Did I do this or did I do this? So you've got to make sure that you're continually, again, keeping up with the stuff, keeping up with the training. When we do have our in-person classes, please consider coming and attending some of those. If you have any questions, you'll have my email address and my phone number. So please feel free to, even if we're not doing in person yet, please feel free to give me a call, send me an email. I'll do an individual Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting with you if you're trying to cover a specific move. If you have those questions, please follow up with me. I'm here to help you guys out. I'd be glad to help you out any way possible. So that's like a lot of the things, kind of like the basic intro that we wanted to talk about. So kind of getting into the class, one of the biggest things, and I know that you're going to think, hey man, I thought we were going to do self-defense, but I'm going to talk to you about being aware of your surroundings. And anybody that follows any of our social media accounts at UNC Police on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter should know that we talk about paying attention to your surroundings all the time. And the reason is you've got to, if you put yourself in the mindset of a bad guys don't want to get caught, right? How are they going to get caught? They're going to get caught if somebody reports to them, right? So if you're walking and say, Victoria, here's a bad guy, and I have my phone or whatever, and I'm paying attention to my phone, and she comes up and pushes me and attacks me. I go to the ground, I turn around, she's already ran off. I never saw her coming. I can't give a good description. I can say that she's a 5'2", way off, 5'2" female, white, running that way, wearing a lot of blue, right? I don't have good descriptors. I wasn't given the opportunity to call out for help. If during this she takes my phone, or if my phone drops, I'm not going to be able to call 911, right? I can call out for help, and hopefully somebody will hear me and will call 911 for me. But if I'm walking around paying attention to my surroundings and Victoria starts approaching me, I can say, stop, get away from me, call 911, or I can call 911 myself, right? All because I wasn't paying attention to what was going on around me. Again, if somebody starts to approach me slowly, I can look and I can scream for help. I can call 911. If I call 911 or scream for help and someone calls 911 for me, there's a better chance of police responding and taking Victoria to jail, right? And that's not what Victoria wants. So probably if she starts coming to me and I start calling for help, she's probably going to run away because, again, she doesn't want to get caught. If I scream for help and call 911 and she still approaches, this still gives me an opportunity to start keeping my distance, start circling, and start looking for ways out, or looking for those places that are well lit that I can get into to get me help. So again, paying attention to your surroundings and being aware of what's going on around you is one of the biggest things that you can do to keep yourself safe. Also, whenever you're going around, whenever you're walking out, maybe at night or even during the day, just pay attention to your paths, right? Stick to the well-lit paths. Look for stores, buildings, things like that are open 24/7, or at least late when you're walking, right? So is it maybe a dorm that's open? Maybe the library is open. Maybe it's, you walk by a convenience store. Is that convenience store open? Look for where the different emergency phones are located along your path and know where they're at. pay attention to the different construction, right? We know that there's a lot of construction going on around campus and around Denton. So paying attention to where all that construction is and knowing how that's going to adjust your movement is something to pay attention to. So in case, again, I'm going here, I have somebody chasing me, stop. I call 911, I start moving. I'm looking for those places that are open 24/7, or at least during the time that I need to, so I can get in and have them call 911 for me, or I can continue my calls to 911. Because again, the thing is that if I go into a well-lit area, if you think you're a bad guy, right? And I run into a well-lit public place where people are around me, there's a less likely chance of that person trying to continue that attack on me. So pay attention to where those areas are and get to them instead if you feel like you're being followed or somebody's trying to harm you. Also, talk about self-defense tools. People always call, they want to talk about what they use in self-defense, right? And they always ask about whether it's pepper spray, tasers, things like that, right? The biggest thing that we recommend really is a flashlight. You think, man, that's pretty lame of all the really cool stuff out there, and you come out with a flashlight, but it goes back to the same thing, right? I know that I've been pepper sprayed. I'm pretty sure Victoria's been pepper sprayed. During my time on patrol, I've been involved in several different pepper spraying incidences. Never once was I the intended target of pepper spray, but never once did I not get at least a little bit of that blowback or residual spray. And if you think about it, if you're, if I'm standing here and I've got someone trying to attack me, we have somebody trying to, we'll do if it's pepper spray, right? So, and this is pepper spray.
Not really.
We're pretending it's pepper spray. And I spray pepper spray, right? And it hits her, but also the wind shifts, or it hits her and it blows back and gets in my eyes. Now, at this point, my eyes are completely shut. I can't see, I can't breathe. I'm gasping for breath. And I'm right here and I have somebody that's trying to harm me still just feet away, right? That's not a good sign. It's not something that I want to be in. Same with tasers. When most people talk about, they say taser, but what they're really talking about is stun guns. So stun guns have two different points on the end. They don't have like a taser like police officer tasers or police tasers where they tase and they have two different electrodes that go and hit the body. They cause the neuromuscular incapacitation, or when somebody falls on the ground, right? They're looking at a stun gun, which is only pain compliant. So if I hit them here, it causes pain in this area, but it doesn't incapacitate them, doesn't put them on the ground, right? So again, if I go to try to use this and she takes that from me and starts stun gunning me, it's a bad deal, right? We don't want you to be in that position. So flashlight, and you're like, man, where's the flashlight come in? What it comes to is the whole thing of paying attention to your surroundings and where you're at, what's going on around you. I'm walking, I see somebody kind of hanging out in the dark alleys or something. I'm like, oh, what's going on? It's kind of concerns me because I don't really see him. If I sound like, hey, how you doing? How's it going? That's kind of I see you. If you try to do anything, I have a better chance to, again, have my phone and call 911, scream for help, or at least get a good description of you before you can hurt me. All right. Also, there is E-Ride. Now, that is a service that is not offered through the police department. It's offered through our partners over at Transportation Services. It's a late night service that will get you around in a geo-fenced area around campus. They do a bus service at night, and then I believe it's starting at 2 a.m. It starts with Lyft from like 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then goes back into the bus service. Now that is usually only available through each long semester. So make sure that you follow up with them. Get all that stuff kind of set up. That way, in case you do need it, you're not scrambling through your phone trying to figure out how to get it going. Kind of already have it set up with the promo codes and know how all of that works. All right. So again, those are some good places to start out with, some good things to watch out for. So now we're going to talk about some of the physical setup so that I have. Yep, sorry. Gotta get my good side. So I see you, leave me alone, right? And they're still approaching. One thing that I want to make sure is that I stand up tall, right? Because if you're a bad guy, you're most likely looking for somebody that you feel that you can probably overpower. So you want to stand up tall. You want to have that strong, defiant voice, not that you're like, leave me alone. You want to be like, leave me alone. Strong, powerful, look them in the eyes and show that, like, I'm not messing around. This is serious, because you got to think at this point, this is not somebody that's just walking by you. This is somebody that you said, hey, leave me alone, and they're coming towards you. So now that you're feeling that confrontation, you want to make sure that you're had that strong defiant stance to them. And then you want to make sure that you're standing in a situation where you feel like that you can defend yourself. So generally, you're not going to want to stand flat-footed, right? Because if they come towards me, I want to be able to move. So somebody starts approaching me and all, at first I'm going to go into like a defiant stance, right? If I'm standing back, I'm getting myself ready for whatever's going, because I've already said, leave me alone. And they're not getting the point, right? They're still coming toward me. So I'm standing here like this in more of a defiant stance, just saying, leave me alone, get back, help, somebody call 911. You call 911, right? Be verbally confrontational. Leave me alone. You need to go somewhere else. Leave me alone. I don't want to have anything to do with you, right? Being very rude towards them, just showing that, again, that verbal defiance that you want to have with them. Then you always want to think about your reactionary gap. So you've already said, hey, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. We're done here. They're continuing to approach you. You got to think about a couple of things, right? Is that right here, I'm in a danger zone. You know why? Because she can hit me. She can strike me. She can probably reach in and grab me, right? I want to make sure that I keep at least 6 feet in between them. It's considered your reactionary gap. That way, if we're here and she starts to move towards me, I can start moving. Because right now she can't strike me and she can't grab me as long as I can maintain this distance. So I want to make sure that I maintain this distance as much as possible. Also, whenever I'm walking, I don't want to just walk backwards because there's a chance that I could fall. And if I fall, it's going to be easier for her to attack me. Also, is it easier to run forward or to run backwards? It's a lot easier to run forward, right? So if I'm just walking backwards and she decides that she wants to attack me, she can run at me a lot quicker and overtake me than I can step backwards. So when I'm maintaining this distance, this reactionary gap, I want to make sure that I'm circling, right? So if she comes towards me, I circle this way. She starts cutting this edge off. I circle back this way. Again, maintaining this distance as much as possible where she can't strike me or grab me, and then not walking straight back. Also, be careful about crossing your feet. Oh, y'all, you get back here, we have to see my feet. See my feet? There you go. So whenever you're walking, you want to step, this way. You don't want to cross your feet, because what happens is you end up. Oh, yeah. See, that's all we have. People here. So just kind of dance. So you always want to step this way, right? You don't ever want to cross your feet, because what's going to happen is you're going to catch and trip yourself. So always step that way, not crossing your feet. So we've already done the initial, leave me alone. I don't know you. Get away from me. They still approached. I continued to move around, and the whole time we're doing this, we're looking for a way out. We're looking to be able to call 911. We're looking for somebody to help us. So as she's approaching me, I'm saying, somebody help, somebody call 911. You start calling 911, right? As you're maintaining that reactionary gap. Now, if you end up in a point where you're in a closed off area, maybe you're next to a car, maybe you're next to a building, maybe you're in a room where you've run out of area. So we're just going to kind of consider is that we're going to say that this is a wall here, right? And I've moved, and unfortunately I've ended up in a position where I cannot maintain this reactionary gap. The only way out is this way. This is not a position I necessarily, of course, or that I want to be in, but I don't really have a choice. At this time, I can't circle out. I don't have a reactionary gap. I'm going to do a hip check. So if you look at a person, so if I want to move, say her upper body, if I grab her arm, it doesn't really move that much, right? But what if I push her shoulder? See, it moves her body. Same with her leg. If you move her leg around, it's not really going to move that much. But if you move right at the hip, it moves the body. It's your hinges, your hinge points. So we're going to do right? So we've got a wall. This is really my only choice. I'm not doing this because I want to be in this position. It's because I'm stuck here and I have to get past her, right? Because this person, again, we've gone through all these steps and that person is still contacting. What we're going to do is we're going to take that close hand, right? It's going to be up close to us. It's going to take this other hand. It's going to be down low. So the idea is for this outside hand catching the hip, shoulder. There you go. The other hand is going to be down here on the hip. So what we're going to do is treat it like a door where it's pushing it open. It's going to look like this. I'm going to have this hand close to me, right? If it's out here and I hit her, it's most likely going to get pushed into me, especially if we're talking about a person that has a larger stature than me. I'm going to have this hand here close. This hand is also going to be close right at my hip. And I'm going to walk to her. And it's going to be a hit and a push. So let's see if you can see it better.
Where are you going?
This way. You see that at all? Or mine away?
Are you going on this side?
No, I'm hitting that. I'm hitting that thing.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So if they're coming this way, it's walking and hitting and pushing, right? So the hands here and here, right? And again, we're pushing it. It's like this, walking it and catching that far side and open it like a door. All right. When we do that, so we're coming through, we're hitting here and we're going and we're keeping moving. We're not turning around to face them. We're not talking about the backstairs yet. We're moving because they, again, are continuing to step up what we're doing, which each part that they're doing. Coming towards me, here, opening, and then continually moving, right? Watching where they're at, but walking forward, finding that place, that public area. Again, continually asking for or calling for help, calling 911 yourself. All right. So next thing we're going to kind of cover is some distraction techniques. There's tons of different distraction techniques. And the idea behind a distraction technique is that if I want to do something, so we'll talk about the grab in a minute, but so if she grabs me, so if the assailant grabs me, if I want to break that grip, right now, her whole thought is keeping this grip, right? So if I immediately start trying to attack that grip, she's going to be able to hold it because her whole mentality is holding on to that grip because she's made the decision to grab it. If I do a distraction technique, that is something else for her to think about while I am getting out of that grip, right? So a couple of common things that people use are headbutts, right? You can do the front, the back. We'll talk about those later. You can do a knee strike to the common or even a hammer fist to the common peroneal that's out here. Anybody that has, well, either younger or older siblings probably got dead leg, right? That's a hit in the common peroneal. That's a really good for a knee strike. Probably should be wearing black. Look at her. So right there, right in the meaty part of the thigh, get into there. You can go right above. So right above the foot, right where your foot and ankle and leg come together, right at your ankle. There's a spot there. Also foot stomps, strikes to the groin, strikes to the shoulder, face, any of that stuff can be a distraction technique. And again, the idea is not for that to be an overpowering blow to knock the person out. The idea is for them to think about that for a moment while you do whatever else that you're trying to accomplish. Okay? So, first thing we're going to talk about is the wrist roll. So like she talked about, she just grabbed me, right? If y'all look at this, woo, so we got 4 fingers on this side. We've got,
You can't see.
we've got 1 thumb on this side. Hold on. 1 thumb on this side, right? What's going to be the weakest area? 4 or 1? 4 or 1? 1. I thought you were
Oh, no, I finished.
1. So what I want to do is I want to go against this thumb. If I try to go against the hand or against the 4 fingers, she's going to go with it, right? Also, I don't want to yank it back because if I'm yanking back, I'm going against her power, right? She may, if I start pulling, she's probably going to sit down into a squat stance, right, to pull me. I'm not going to be able to get away this way. What I want to do is a wrist roll. So, you see this? My hand is going to go over top and break the grip. I'm not swinging it all right around. my hand is just going to roll over. So here, without her, if we look at it this way, so grab it here. So see, here's my hand. It's going to go over the top and push down. One more time. Over the top and push down. Okay? Next thing we're going to talk about, you're like, okay, well, what if she does both hands? Oh, no. So the same idea, right? On this side, we've got 4 fingers. On this side, we've got 2 thumbs. What do you think is going to be weaker? 2 thumbs. All right. We're going to take this same idea, but what we're going to do is, let's turn this way so they can see you better. Right? Same grip. Thumbs are on the top. I'm going to take my free hand. I'm going to make a fist with what my hand that's here. Fist. Second hand is going to come over top and grab. And I'm going to make sure that my wrist is strong and locked. Reach over and grab, right? And I'm going to go in with my body and I'm going to pull it out. Okay? I don't want to just reach over and just try to pull it, right? Because I have no power here. My power is just in my bicep and my forearms. Hers are bigger. So I want to use my entire body. I want to use my core. I want to use my back. I want to use my legs. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to grab, right? I'm going to come in, I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to pull with my whole body's coming over. Okay? Pull that out. Now, when we talk about this grab or the single grab, what do you think is going to make this more successful? Something that we talked about. It's going to be a distraction technique. So we're walking up. I say, no, leave me alone. She grabs my hand. I kick her in the shin, and then I do a wrist roll. Right? Because at that time, when she grabs me, and I do a palm heel strike, or I do a kick to the shin, or I do a foot stomp, any of that stuff takes her mind off of her grabbing my wrist for just that second. And that's all I need. I'm not going to foot stomp her and then stand there and look at her and then do a wrist roll, right? She's going to grab me, foot stomp, wrist roll. Grabs both hands, palm heel strike, common peroneal, whichever. Grab, pull out. Okay? Again, that distraction technique is going to give you a higher probability of it being successful. All right.
Hey, Austin Crosby.
Yes.
We have a question. And that's someone that's a little confused about that part where you're talking about circling around and keeping the space between you. Because wouldn't you, if you've got that space, just want to take the opportunity to start running away?
Yes. Yes. That's a good point. So your whole idea is to make sure that you're getting away. But if somebody's closing in towards you and you're looking for that chance to get away, you want to make sure that you're keeping that distance. But you may not always be able to get away immediately, but that is correct. You are always looking for that opportunity to get somewhere that is well lit. Somebody can call 911, but keeping that gap is something that's giving you the opportunity to make sure that you're keeping an eye on them while you're trying to call for help, leave me alone. With that. Sorry, got out of the frame. But yes, correct.
Do you mind?
No, go ahead.
It could also be used like he was talking about your wall. You know, if you're kind of in a wall or a corner, that circle could maybe get you to, your hallway or your door or something like that. So it's not just circle to circle, it's circle to find your exit or, to make your call or whatever it is. The whole point is get away, get out.
Absolutely. All right. So the next we're going to talk about is a shoulder grab. So what if, you've done the whole get away from me, and they reach up and grab you. So there's really 2 ways that you can grab. So I want you all to kind of think about this for a minute. If you do either, so if you do the same side, so curl up, do this right here, like you're flexing, and then try to make a fist and see how strong that fist is. Okay? Now, take your other hand, swing it over and make a fist and see how strong your fist is. Which fist is stronger? It's going to be this one, right? Because you got everything kind of collapsed on itself and it's harder to make it fist that way. We're going to take all that. The reason that we're talking about that is that if you're here, you could go this way, but you're not going to have a good grip on that person's hand and wrist. So we're going to take the opposite hand. So you're going to take this opposite hand and you're going to reach across and you're going to grab their hand. And when you grab it, you're going to get your hands right under the meaty part of their palm, right? You look for their palm, not up on their fingers. You want to get that. And you're not going to lift it off. You're going to pry it off or peel it off, peel it back. That puts that pressure on the top of the hand in the back here. So you're going to peel that off. And if you look here, that's causing a lock in the elbow. And also we're working on a wrist lock right here. Once you've got this, you're going to take this hand, right? Here, you're going to bring this hand down. And so what you want is your thumbs right here, right in the center of the back of your hand. If your thumbs get too high and get on their fingers, you lose all of the lock out, right? So you want to be down here, right in the base of their hand, right in the center. And then you take it and you do a kind of like a rolling push down. So you're going to have it here, and you're going to roll that, push that down again. And you're going to be driving this into them. This is locking out this wrist. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever been wrist locked, but you can kind of mess with that and feel the pressure. And you know that causes a lot of pain. They're not going to want to be in that position. So again, they grab here. I'm going to reach across with the far hand, push it down, get my fingers under, and we're just going to roll, peel it off. Pulling it off locks out that elbow. The other hand here, push. And then again, you're just going to drive into them to give you that opportunity to get away. All right. So again, here, hand over, push it down, peel that off, thumbs in the back, and you're going to drive that down, right? You're pushing that down into them. Okay. If you do practice any of this stuff with people like we were talking about suggesting, make sure you're very gentle and pay a lot of attention, because you can hurt somebody pretty quick with that. So it's not something to play around. It's not something to horse around with. And be cognizant whenever you are doing it that it can hurt somebody pretty bad. So be careful whenever you're using those wrist locks. So if we do one more time, we'll do this one more time. So again, far side, push it down, hands under. You can see my hand right now. That thumb right now is already at the top of her hand. It's not up on her fingers. It's here. We're peeling it off, right? We're not just trying to pull it up because she may be overpowering me. We're going to pry that off. Elbow is locked. Other hand comes back here. Get my thumbs positioned well. My other hand, maybe my pinky, middle finger, whatever, is down here, right in that wrist, so that I can make sure that I get good pressure on that wrist. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see it. I want to make sure that I get good pressure right here on that wrist. Y'all see that?
This looks not working.
Is that
Like for real.
really?
Yeah.
I can remember that later. So,
Stevie.
really? Huh. Sounds like a challenge. So if somebody does a cross grip, right? I'm going to do the same thing, because all of this other stuff is still the same, as I have more strength on this. So I reach and I grab. Right? And I do the same thing. I don't want to just try to pick it up because I may not be able to be strong enough. I want to peel it off. And you're thinking, well, this doesn't make sense. Now the wrist isn't locked out, right? Her elbow isn't locked out because she can still bend it. That's completely fine. Her wrist is still locked. If you look right here, her wrist is still locked. Same ideas. Thumbs in the hand, right below the fingers. If it gets up on top of the fingers, this doesn't work here. So we're here, and it's the same push down and power down into there. Okay. So this again, it's here, grab, roll it over. Again, we don't have the elbow this time, but you can, I mean, I can flip this over and see there's no elbow lock, but the wrist is still locked out. Still same ideas. Thumbs are still in the back of the hand on the lower area. Fingers are still right down here.
Can't see your
Oh.
noise.
That'd be good. Sorry, guys. Fingers are still right here at the bend of the wrist to push that over and drive that down. Okay. Same thing. If you're practicing this on someone, make sure you're careful with them because it's easy to hurt somebody when you're doing wrist locks. Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about what do you do if somebody grabs you from behind? Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see. So a hand on the shoulder, somebody reaches up and grabs your hand on the shoulder. Same general idea, right? My strength is the same. I'm going to have more strength on the reach over, the grip strength from over here. What I'm going to aim for is I'm going to aim for these two fingers right here. If I grab three fingers, so if I grab these three, if I grab these two, if I grab these three, it's not that big of a deal. I don't want you to grab and say, oh, wait, hold on. I got too many fingers. Let me just have these two. You're going to aim for these two, though. You're going to grab those fingers. You're going to grip them, right? Right here. You see how that grip is? Right here. Okay. So I'm going to have these fingers here. I'm going to turn towards her. This way a little bit. Turn towards. And I'm going to hold on to these fingers super tight. And it does the same thing. We've got it's called an inverted finger lock. So you got an inverted finger lock. Kind of got into some wrist. That's all pushing there. So you can just take here and just push down. When you raise, you're going to raise it up, almost like a fishing, and push it up into them. If they start collapsing if they get their wrist, they start collapsing their wrist down, you can take this free hand. You can grab behind the elbow here, and then you can do like a pressure, counter pressure type movement, right? So they grab here, here, and you start pushing down into the fingers. Again, it's another one of those things that you could easily hurt somebody, you can easily break their fingers pretty easy. So do it again. Here, got that cross side grip, aiming for these two fingers right here in the middle, grab them and get a good grip on them, right? And now this one is not a peel like we talked about peeling before. This is an actual, you're taking those fingers up and you're spinning around. Spinning that way. Now you can see them, right? And I can just walk towards her. If she starts spinning that elbow, she's trying to take the pressure off those fingers. She's gonna do what she has to do. Reach in, grab and push them, and then push them down to the ground. And as soon as they get to the ground, gives you the opportunity to get away. Okay. One thing I did forget to mention earlier, is that if somebody does a shoulder grab on you, and I talked about, I said, hey, you want to grab with the cross hand, right? Because the cross hand is your stronger hand. What if you say, oh crap, I reached up and I grabbed him with this hand? You're like, oh, it's not gonna work. And you do the same thing, peel it off. What are you at? You're at the cross grip, right? So you still have a wrist lock, and you still push them down. We say to go with the opposite hand just because you have a stronger grip. But if you end up grabbing on this side, you still have it. A wrist lock, just a different style. Okay? So don't think just because you grabbed it, a different way that you're completely out of the game, that you have to start over. Okay? It's a big point. All right. Yes.
I had a question about that move. Would the goal be to break their fingers?
The goal is to get away. You could possibly break somebody's fingers, but really your goal is compliance for them to stop attacking you and you to get away. So, and again, I keep talking about this. I'm talking about this move so specifically, is that if somebody grabs me from behind and does that, this would be a good time, right? We want to do a distraction technique. So maybe a hammer fist, maybe let's make that a little bit so you can see, like a back heel kick. So back here to kick somebody, a hammer fist, elbow if you can or something. But that, that part of it. But again, we're wanting to do something as a distraction technique, so they're not thinking about how they're trying to grab me, because they're not grabbing me to pat me on the shoulder and tell me that I did a good job, right? They're looking to gain control of me at this point. So a good back fist, a good like heel kick, something like that, then grab, then turn, and then with the inverted finger lock. Okay. Talk a little bit about some bear hugs. This is really going to be pretty much it. I wanted to give you guys just some good, solid, basic maneuvers. Again, hopefully we'll be able to have some in-person classes we can really kind of go through and I can watch you guys. But please, please, please feel free to give me a call. This is being recorded. We'll have it out. So I can kind of look back through it. But please feel free to give me a call, send me an email, and we'll help you to make sure that you can get these moves down so you feel safer. So we're going to talk about bear hugs. So with bear hugs, there's really two different ways that somebody can bear hug you. Combine. Either you can have your arms trapped, or you can have your arms free. Are the two ways that you most likely going to be bear hugged, right? So if she grabs me, arms trapped, right? What I want to do is I want to make sure, because if she's grabbing me, she's probably wanting to drag me away or pick me up. So one thing I'm going to want to do is turn to the side a little bit. So one thing I want to do is I want to drop my base. So you want to go into like a squat, right? So, and if any of y'all squat, or just think about like just dropping your weight to your feet where it's harder for somebody to pick you up. So I'm probably going to, right, grabs me here, probably going to do this would be a really good time for a foot stomp. Let me do close that. So it'd be a really good time to do it. Foot stomp, maybe a headbutt, maybe a hammer fist to the groin, something of that nature. And then I'm going to drop down my weight and I'm going to do my shoulders up, right? So it's kind of harder because I'm a little bit wider than Australian. But she grabs me here. I'm going to turn also here. And I'm going to continue the shrugging technique to get down. If you think about sliding like a rubber band off of like off of something where it just goes off the top and just comes off. So if I'm grabbing her, if she drops her weight down and then turns and then she wants to shuck her shoulders out, right? Again, we're going to start out with that distraction technique, whether it's a headbutt or a heel kick or a hammer fist. And again, we're only doing that. We're not doing that to incapacitate them. We're doing that for them to change on what they're focused on. So if I do that, she's no longer focused right then on holding me. She's focused on, I just struck her. Drop my weight, flare my shoulders out, turn in. And while I'm turning in, I'm just trying to create more room so that I can drop all the way out and come out. Okay? Gonna do it?
Me?
Yes. So I grab, her arms are trapped. She'll do a distraction technique.
Drop, arms out, turn and come out.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. The biggest thing on that is getting your weight down, dropping down low. Right. So think about like either just dropping your weight to the ground, doing squats, whatever it is, but you don't want to just bend over. So if I have her and she just bends over at the waist, that doesn't really help. But if she drops her weight, right? So if she's up here and she just bends over, that's not going to help her. But if she drops her weight through her legs, okay? So that's one of the biggest things is once you get that distraction technique in, is to drop your weight, get your weight down low. It makes it harder for them to pick up. Widen your stance. If they catch you here, if your legs are together, drop down, get your weight, get your base down low. It makes it harder for them to pick you up. Gives them a better chance to be able to raise those shoulders and just slip them over the top. All right. So next one's going to be if your arms are free. So if they reach up and they grab you, if your arms are free. Now this is one that if you have somebody with you, again, make sure you're doing it on either a padded surface like a mat, or make sure that you don't go all the way through so they fall down, because you don't want to hurt anybody. So they got you, so stir a little bit. They got you. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take this leg, or you can take either leg you want. I'm gonna go to this side, so I'm gonna take this leg and I'm gonna put it behind this leg of hers. Right? So this leg's gonna go behind her leg. Okay? Then I'm gonna reach down, grab this leg,
That's my leg.
that's her leg. It's in front of my leg, and I'm just gonna stand up, and she's gonna fall down. This is where we talk about making sure that you have a mat, or realize when that person that you're doing it to knows that they're gonna fall and they hold on. So you don't want to just reach down like Officer Latham is my partner. I'm not, if we're practicing this move, I'm not gonna reach behind her and just grab her and just yank up real quick and make her fall and hurt
I'm
herself.
gonna go back.
Yes, because she's gonna fall down. The key to this is I gotta make sure that my hip is right behind her leg. I've gotta be really, you gotta be really close. If I'm, yes. So if I'm really far away from her, I'll do it. Let's touch it.
You can. See, flashlights, good.
See? Should work out. So if she said, if there's a lot of room, so if she's got me. this
I
kind-
got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if you see,
There you go.
so if you see that there's a lot of space here, I gotta grab this leg and pull up with it. She's probably just gonna move back and kick back and stand. But if I'm up against her hip. Yeah, we still with the light. So if I've got her really close with my hip, then that's like a fulcrum point where I pick up, she's gonna fall back. So
Oh, you're
here,
with me? Okay,
so then this leg is gonna go behind another leg.
this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, so we're gonna go back like that. See my foot's in the middle. Then I'm gonna reach down and grab his foot. But maybe not that hard, my bad. And he's gonna fall.
Yes, so again, with this, you want to make sure that you do it on a padded surface. You do it outside in the nice soft grass. But be cognizant of what you're doing, because it's something that you will fall down easily. There's a good chance that whenever you do this to someone, like if I do this to Victoria, she swings around and she grabs me and throws me, there's a good chance that when I fall, that she's gonna fall down with me. So you gotta be ready to get up and move. All right. This is another one. You're gonna follow up with the distraction technique. So, and you can go either way with this. Yeah, go ahead and grab it. So earlier I went to this side and got my foot around. I can also go to this side. It doesn't matter. Okay. Again, you're gonna make sure that you do a distraction technique. So if she grabs me, it could be a headbutt, step around, make sure that my hip is close to hers, reach down, and I'm not yanking up. I'm just grabbing her and just standing up. And you can grab shoelaces, you can grab the back of the leg, you can grab the foot, you can grab the hair on the leg. I grab, maybe, not talking about Victoria. But you can grab anything that's down there that you can grab will get them off balance and they will fall back. Another thing to try out with somebody, but again, make sure that you keep yourself and your training partner safe. So if we go kind of through everything, once that's through, that I'm standing here, what am I not doing? I'm not looking at my phone. What am I doing? I'm looking around so that if I see a potential threat, stop, stay away. I've made an assertive voice. I've taken a bladed, more aggressive stance. I'm not standing just straight where it's easy to attack me. They start approaching. Get back, leave me alone. They reach up or they start walking towards me. I take, Take that inside hand, I pull it close. The other hand's down by the hip, and I walk and knock them out. They turn. You see better this way? We'll go in, contacts me with that hip. I turn around, she's really quick and turns around and grabs me. Right? One hand, so high. Distraction technique, distraction technique, distraction technique, any of those, you only need one. And as soon as I do the distraction technique, I'm rolling. Remember, the thumb is where it's weak. I want to go after the weak area. And I'm rolling it around. Rolling it around. As I do that, she reaches up and she double grabs me. Oh no! Same thing. Distraction technique, a good palm heel strike, a good kick. This free hand's going to come in and grab this, and we're going to make this other hand that's down here into a fist, locking out the wrist. Other hand comes to the top, our whole body goes into it, and our whole body comes out. At the time of doing this, she runs up and she bear hugs me. Oh no! Hands are free. So, distraction technique or distraction technique. Any of them that you want to use is fine. Just make sure that you use one to get their mind off of what's about to happen. Distraction technique. Step around, then outside. Now I've got that fulcrum point. Bending down, grab her pant leg, pick it up, and she falls down. And now I run away. All right. I know there's a lot of information in only 50 minutes. That's why my email address is in there. And that's why I suggest that you follow up with some different classes if that's something that you're interested in. Walk through, talk to the stuff, talk to maybe your significant other or friend to follow that up with. Does anybody have any questions or something that you didn't see that I could kind of help you with? Please send your questions in the chat. Or you can raise your hand and we can unmute you. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone. I'm sorry. Yes.
What if they grab you from behind? Wait, what if they grab you behind from the throat? They're grabbing you in the throat.
So.
Yep.
Like this.
Yep. So
if somebody does that to me, if you grab me from behind, I'm still thinking automatically is distraction technique. So I'm gonna like probably do a like a hammer fist and then probably just turn into it, right? Because if I turn, if they've got their thumbs right here, their thumbs are the weak portion, and I'm not going to turn way around. I'm going to just almost do like a pivot turn. So I'm going to take a little bit. So I'm going to take, if I do this inside leg, if I'm turning this way, I'm going to take this pivot leg, and I'm going to turn directly into them. If I go to the other side, so distraction technique, and then just pivot directly into them. That's going to break that thumb grip. They're not going to be able to hold that grip if you pivot. So again, I'm not going to just turn, because if I just turn, they're going to follow me. Plant that foot and pivot, and then drop your weight and pivot.
And what if they use their whole arms?
As a choke?
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about, so.
Like a one arm or, yeah.
So like a rear naked choke or something of that nature? So with that, first thing is right, is you want to protect your neck. So as soon as you feel it coming, you want to drop your chin. I don't know if you guys can see it, sorry. You can see I'm going to drop my chin and try to get my chin in here so my neck is protected. Then I'm going to take one hand and I'm going to put up here and pull this, right, to keep that pressure off that neck. And the same thing, I'm going to step back through. If I hold on to that, I go back.
Look familiar.
Ah, has anybody seen this before, right? So if we go back into that one more time. soon as I feel here, I'm gonna drop my chin and I'm gonna do, look. Wait a second. I'm gonna do, you can see, drop my chin.
We're gonna do this part since you're gone. I feel like this is getting difficult.
So you're gonna drop your chin, because you want that chin to, so down to here, you're gonna drop your chin to get it in there. Just follow that through.
Sorry. See, we gotta be careful.
You gotta be careful with the old guys. Does that make sense? Right, and where do you end up at?
Right
Same wrist
here
lock that we just talked about. So where do your thumbs need to be?
on the
Low,
knuckles.
right, there you go. And then you're gonna driving downward force. All right. Those are great questions. Those are really good questions.
One thing to think about on the grabbing from the back like this, you only have to break one hand. Because as soon as I get one of these off of me, he's not choking me anymore, right? So that's why, like, when you turn one way, I got this one off of me. So I'm not as worried anymore.
And with that one, the big thing is when you're dropping is you're doing a pivot turn. You're not just walking around them. Because if you walk around them, they're gonna follow you. If you're dropping and pivoting in towards them, they can't follow you. It allows you to break that grip.
That was it.
That was it. Those are really good questions. I know if y'all are like me, as soon as we stop this, then a question will hit and you'll think of something. Please feel free. Please send me an email, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you and help you out.